welcome to On the Ball report again, as promised from last week. We when we were interviewing Graeme Mackinnon there. This is the part 2 of the interview with Graeme Mackinnon. And of course, he's well known. He had a reputation for the sharp tongue, and he still does, by the way. He'll correct you. If you ask him a question, he'll correct you and say, no, that's not how it was done. But anyway, we'll progress. We'll ask him some more questions. So, Graeme, how much has the game changed in the Philippines since you played?
I don't think the game has changed as much as the participation aspect of the game. That has changed a lot. There is more and more players playing, both boys and girls now, which is really good. But I think one of the things is that in the early days, the public schools weren't as involved as they are now. There's more in public school. And then there's also new private schools coming in, and that's giving us the extra participation numbers that we're looking for.
Now, it has been reported that some of the private schools are looking at scholarships. So in other words, if somebody's really good player, or in the verge of becoming a good player, they can get their education as well as playing for the university or the private college.
Sure, and that's not new. That happened in my day, 1980s, we were doing that. We gave scholarships to all our Lulia players in that time. We've also had the Lulia Sports Development Foundation grassroots program, and those boys, when they got to high school, some of them were given scholarships from Candoman, and then they got scholarships to go to university afterwards. So yeah, there is a pathway for the education through football, that's for sure.
It's interesting, Graeme, when I look back and from an interviewing point of view, there was two people that stood out as ex-players. One was Maradona. He did speak a little English. Obviously, he had an entourage that was never very good for him over his playing career. But secondly, I have to take my hats off to the Black Pearl, which is Pelé. He was always there, and he was very good at articulating how he loved the game, how he got into it, and his memories. And he always said, you know, Peter, says Gordon Bonks. He never said Banks, he said Bonks. Nobody remembers my goal. Only that damn save that Bonks made in the World Cup against Brazil. So forgive me, folks, for trying to take the great one off there. But you looking back, Graeme, any memories, any players or any events that really, really, really are good memories?
I think even bad memories can become good memories, because you can always find something good in the bad. But the very best, obviously, was the time when in 1988, the Lulia team won the national championship for Cebu when we played it in Iloilo. It was the first time that Cebu's ever won the national championship. And some of the bravery, if you like, of the players, I will always remember. The way that they were able to do things that they possibly shouldn't have even played during the competition because of their injuries, but they came through at the end.
Amazing. Now, recently the Filipino goalkeeper was in the news. Obviously, he signed with Cardiff City some seasons back, I think about maybe three and a half seasons back.
Sure.
And then he decided Tottenham Football Club in the Premiership, EPL, was showing some interest. They wanted to strengthen their goalkeeping team. But obviously, Neil Etheridge decided a 4 years deal was a lot better, maybe, than Tottenham were offering. So he signed with Birmingham City Football Club.
I think that's a good move for him, because 4 years is a long time. And he needs to be playing. Maybe he wouldn't have been first 11 player on the team for Tottenham, whereas he should be first 11 for Birmingham. So that's a good move for him.
So when you look at it, I mean, I think he's about 34 years old.
Not yet, I don't think.
Maybe he's a little younger?
Yeah, I think he's just into his 30s now. So.
Oh, okay. So we'll say he's just turned 30, just for stats. But
good age for a goalie.
He could have 4 to 6 years with the national team. He keeps fit.
Sure. And he will continue to improve by playing in this level that he's at the moment, he will definitely improve. And you can see the improvement that since he's been with Cardiff in his positioning of certain areas of his goalkeeping when he's playing in the national team. He definitely has improved.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt about that. And I suppose it was suggested that the deal was around £5 million. It could have been a little higher if Birmingham hadn't have gone down to the feeder. I call it the feeder league to the EPL, but it's still a hard league to play in. So he could have got maybe 7.5. But no matter what he received, it's good on him. He can take some monies to the bank. And maybe we find another Messi or Beckham or another good goalkeeper in the system here in the Philippines. And that's why On the Ball, folks, On the Ball Report, is mandate is to promote the Philippines' growth of football here. But anyway, we're going to take a little break here. We'll be right back after this message. You know what? Welcome to the world's greatest game of football. You know, you can be smart, you can play smart, whatever your sport. You dress like a pro for your favorite football team. It could be the shirts, the shorts. Best in selection, best in price is Bad Beat Sportswear. It's your team selection. Bad Beat Sportswear is your winner. Well, welcome back to OTB Report, On the Ball, of course, but OTB Report there. I suppose my producer will be telling me later, you got to spell it out. It's On the Ball Report. Well, you can see the shirt there, and certainly Graeme. Graeme, you got to tell me what the badge is there on your right.
Philippine football.
There you go. You see, I can't see. I don't have a zoom camera to go in there, but anyway. Now, they say the question, brilliant.
Philippine football.
Well done. Here are some of the maybe a little political, tougher questions, but I'm sure you can handle it better than anybody. Here we go. The national team heads towards the FIFA, obviously, qualifying rounds in 2022, when the World Cup, and billions of viewers will be watching that there. How do you view the national team here in the Philippines?
Well, they won't make the World Cup. We all know that. But so long as they give a good performance in whatever qualification games they're playing in, that will be good for the game. In the old days where they were getting massacred every time they went away, that's what a lot of people turned off football. But when the games are tight, when the games are close, they can get a win. That will do the wonders as far as the football is concerned here.
Now, moving on, this is another loaded one in a sense, but FIFA is such a non-profit but rich organization. The Americans brag about how good they are at promoting and the monies that come in from basketball and it comes in from football. Does FIFA do enough investing in the Philippines?
Well, I don't know. I know that they invest. Nobody invests enough. There's always room for more. So if they want to give more than what they're giving at the moment, so be it. And if that helps to bring in more development centres, grassroots development centres in different areas, different regions, well then that would be good for football.
Well, of course, I mean, anybody can, I say anybody, but organizations can get land and build a football pitch. But first of all, you need an official in the middle. That's got to be developed. And the lines people as well, or the officiating on the sideline. And then you've got, obviously, to have a game there. Is FIFA, it's a little sort of a little political here, but do they do enough investment in monies in the Philippines?
No one will ever say that they're doing enough, especially the administration. They will want more. And I agree with that. The more you get, the more you can do. So if FIFA would like to give more, in the way of grounds, in the way of finances for referees, players, etc., like that, and the development, because the development is the most important, then yeah, go for it. We need them to do more.
So Graeme, you obviously got the story as well as we did here. There is an organization just outside Cebu City, as I call it there, looking at developing a football ground and a sort of academy building still.
Yeah, I heard about that, but it's going to be all sports. It's not only totally football, although there is a football field, which is be the jewel in the crown. I've seen the photographs of it. It looks very, very good, better than anything else that we've got in Cebu. So that makes me excited. I just wonder from the photographs about the runoff size outside of the line to the fence, whether that's going to be a little bit tight as far as playing football is concerned, but people would get used to that. But it's a good step in the right direction, that's for sure.
Now, when you look at Aboitiz land, or we'll call it Aboitiz, their financial aspect to the game at the junior level, last year, 2019, they attracted something like 4,000 plus for their cup events, different age groups, of course, there. And then you had Thursday, which is another cup that's been played for. So you do have companies out there that are still dipping in their pocket, you know, and I suppose their marketing people are saying, well, what do we get as a return?
Well, you look at the Aboitiz. Aboitiz has been doing this for, I think it's the longest running tournament in Cebu now. And that means that it's been going for 15 to 20 years. And Aboitiz has always been involved in football. The Aboitiz children have been involved in football. So it's part of their DNA that Aboitiz and football will come together. As far as Thursday is concerned, Thursday is I think it's a fiesta competition where it's a 1 weekend or 2 weekend competition. And that's also good. It's good for Thursday because they get a lot of publicity from it. And any competition is good for the players. So, you know, it's a win-win situation for both.
You know, it's amazing because when I look back on the history of FIFA's World Cup, and it goes back to South America, and I believe it was Argentina or Paraguay and so forth. We're looking at the mid-1930s to just short of the 40s. You had the bravery of soft drink companies getting involved in there, and it was a new ground for them. And one company comes to mind, you always see it on the World Cup, is Coca-Cola.
Sure, Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola's name is synonymous in the Philippines because of their Coke Go for Goal grassroots development program. And you could always rely on Coke to get involved really strongly. They didn't do half measures. They went in fully to support the competition. And I was happy or fortunate enough to coach a team that made the final of the Coke Go for Goal. And, you know, they did everything that we would ask them to do. And they were very, very good sponsors. That's for
you know,
sure.
Graeme, again, I got to tell the folks out there that are going to be watching on a regular basis our weekly On the Ball report for your time, because we want to keep in touch with you, with your experience and your knowledge of the game. And you've seen it here in the Philippines as well as Australia. I mean, Australia, we shouldn't take anything away from Australia. They have some couple of really good leagues.
Yeah, we do. And the A-League, which is their professional league, it's nurturing players and it's virtually a nursery because there are so many of the players then go overseas and play overseas in different leagues around the world. And so it's just a stepping stone. The A-League is a stepping stone. The same as the PFL in the Philippines will be a stepping stone for Asia, for the best players in the PFL that's just starting in a few weeks' time, for them to go and play in other competitions in Korea, China, Japan, Thailand, those sort of things, which is a better league than what they've got in the Philippines at the moment. And that makes the national team stronger by having these players playing in a higher league.
Well, the Super League in China obviously has done it right because they had the money, of course.
Sure.
They introduced South American players who were at the sort of end of their career, and some English, and they also were wise enough to bring in good officiating from Europe. And I have to say that the UK is an exceptional refereeing. But coming back to Australia, as you said, once you get those players playing around the world, where they play for Everton or Liverpool's second team, or I'm probably missing one. I'm thinking of Wolves from memory, and Leeds United had an Aussie playing for them as well.
If you think of Brighton, the goalkeeper for Brighton is the Australian goalkeeper.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And then they come back and they play for the national team. It's no wonder that Australia make the World Cup.
Yeah.
You know, so
and now we come through Asia. we're coming through Asia to qualify, and before we used to qualify through Oceania, which was New Zealand and Australia, and then some lesser known countries, Fiji, Tonga, and things like that. But now the path to the World Cup for Australia is much, much more difficult. But luckily, we've been able to get there for the last 3 World Cups.
Graeme, it's a pleasure. And I should tell the folks, this is our first Zoom interview in history in the making in the Philippines. And we covered a lot of area here, and it's all been primarily about the Philippines. So you football fans out there, whether you're playing or you're refereeing, or just thinking, I wonder what this game is about, you stay with us on a weekly report, and perhaps we can answer some of your questions there. Graeme, pleasure talking to you on the Ball Report. Graeme Mackinnon, Cebu Sports Hall of Fame, and the voice of football in Cebu.
My pleasure, Pete.
Well, there you had it. Graeme Mackinnon, and I'll tell you, you don't want to mess with this guy because he tells you how it is in football. And if we can understand the philosophy of that he has in football, football will be here and it will make history, but it needs obviously a little bit more attention from the media in general. But then, you know what, as Graeme said, he helped the media out, so we can help the media out and perhaps baptize some of these sports editors. I'm sure the baptism would take place there. Anyway, this is On the Ball Report. Share, like, subscribe, and ring the bell for news, interviews, breaking stories. Thanks for watching On the Ball Report.